Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Fisherman's favorite podcast today. We're in a little special studio today. We're at Trapper's Landing Lodge down here on Leech Lake with Josh Bullivant. He is the general manager of Trapper's Landing. And we're out in the ice house right now doing a little fishing, so it's kind of a unique experience. So we're going to talk to Josh a little bit about Trappers, Leech Lake, and then just some ice fishing so far. It's been a couple weeks since we've done a podcast, so got a lot to talk about, so it'll be a good one.
There's deer in the meadow, frogs in the pond, a place up the river where the fish are getting long. Bass in the lilies, crappie in the reeds, walleye on the rocks and pike in the weeds. There's a fella down the road who's a real fishing man, give you a stringer for the frying pan. Northland, fish and tackle, fisherman's favorite. It's a fisherman's favorite.
Welcome, Josh. Thanks for having us out, and thanks for hopping on the podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for coming and visiting us here.
So, tell a little kind of general info about Trappers, who you guys are, what you offer, all that stuff.
Yeah, so we're a resort, southern part of Leech Lake on the main basin. We have cabins, ice houses, open to the public for ice road to get out, fish on Leech Lake. Also, you guys are staying in one of our sleeper houses, so 10 by 22 sleeper houses. They're all look exactly the same, believe it or not. So all sleep the same. I mean, you probably fit 6 guys at least inside these ice houses.
Yeah.
And then they're fully loaded. They come with everything you need for fishing. So we've got the rods, reels, the Vexlars or flashers, underwater cameras. We got one dedicated for that hooked up. They got the TVs. Only thing you need to bring on our ice houses is going to be your sleeping stuff and cooking stuff for that. Also, if you don't have, like, let's say we're booked on this one, we'll still get you out on the ice. So we have that Pro Shop gear sponsored by Reed Sporting Goods, which gives us all the pop-up shelters from clam, otter, Eskimo. So we got a whole bunch of those to try it before you buy it type thing. The augers will mark up maps, stuff like that. So all of our cabins, we have different sizes. We can accommodate all different size groups from one person all the way up to 40, 50, 60 people. So we, in fact, have a group coming in a couple weeks from now. It's going to be 75 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible down here. I feel like Trappers is just run really, really well. It's not your traditional ma and pa, resort. Everything's right. When we showed up here, you had the heat on, the rattle reels were all set, and we were pretty much fishing right away. And we'll try to get some cutaways of this fish house. It's pretty incredible how much space there's in them.
Yeah.
It's a skid house. There's no wheel wells or whatnot. And we had 4 of us in here fishing last night, and we were never tripping over each other or anything. It was super nice.
It was sweet. Last night, Sam, it's 4:00. We're at the Northland headquarters, and Sam's like, "Hey, let's run down to Trappers and stay the night and set up this podcast with Josh." And we're gonna do it last night, but we were too excited to not start fishing.
Started fishing right away.
So
yeah.
No, it's good. It was an awesome night. We caught a couple fish, full-time action, and we only had 4 guys in here, but we could have definitely had more.
Yeah, you could have fit a lot more, especially if you're just fishing, and there's beds to go around. But yeah, it was a good time. So
yeah, and the houses are set up on good spots. Like we're seeing fish down there, and we caught burbot, walleye.
Yeah, there's been perch around here all morning yet, so it's a little bit distracting, but we'll hopefully we can make it through the podcast. Hopefully you catch a fish on it.
I'm keeping my eye on the underwater camera over there.
We got the rattle reels down, so so these houses are custom made.
Yeah, they're custom made by, you got to do a shout out to Lumalite. Lumalite did a great job with these. They use a lot of them up on Lake of the Woods. We bought ours. They custom built all of ours, and then we just custom designed the inside. So they all look the same. You aren't going to find anything else like our ice houses, even though Lumalite made the frame and all of that. Ours are specifically designed for us.
The one thing that I first noticed coming into this house is how wide it is. Feels like every other wheelhouse that I've been in is fairly narrow. You kind of have one hallway, and then you have the holes on each side. And this is a sweet setup. We have this dining area here where we can do this, and this folds out into a bed. But then we also have couches on the other side here, and We have 2 TVs we can watch movies on. We got very spoiled by Josh and Trappers Landing.
Perfect spot for a podcast too. I think it was meant to be right here.
When we first started talking about it, and I know I've seen these houses before, but it's been a few years since we've been down here, and I was like, oh, it might be kind of tight to do it. And then we walked in the door, and I was like, oh, this will be fine. We'll have plenty of room in here. And that's what I was saying. Like usually a nice house, because it's big and spacious, but by the time you bring in your food and your gear and your rod boxes, it's like Jenga tripping over each other the whole time, and it's been fine. We haven't even had to put any of the hole covers in to access. You can just walk around. So,
Josh, did you mention how many of these houses you have?
No, I didn't yet. So we have 9 of these sleeper houses. So they do book up pretty quick. Like we're already booked on all of our weekends. Yeah. Still got midweek availability. And then we're unique here too. We shut down on like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so that we can move them, reposition them. Yeah. Or it also, if we were catching fish in there, it also gives it a couple nights to kind of relax for everything. Mm-hmm. So, and it kind of keeps them on those fish with it. We try and move them at least every 2 groups and get them on fresh ice. So when I say 2 groups, that might only be 4 days on a spot. Yeah. So, wow. And we saw him already. We were yanking one down the road, which I think he's setting up somewhere in this area here this morning. So trying to kind of keep them moving where we can. Keep them on fish. Obviously, it's fishing sometimes, so we do miss on that occasionally. But they're all on historical spots where we've caught them, and try and do a little bit of scouting before we go all the time too. So,
the nice thing about this is, we're gearing towards the end of January here, but we're on awesome ice. You guys have beautiful roads out to these houses. We're able to drive our pickups right to it, unload our stuff. Never got cold. Didn't have to put on the bibs. Didn't have to put on the big boots. That was really nice compared to having to run and gun somewhere. And
well, you asked me when we were at the office yesterday. You're like, "Did you bring your bibs?" I was like, "No." I almost didn't bring a coat because I knew we were going to be fishing in luxury the whole time. So, and it's kind of fun to do that every now and then. I like running and gunning and looking for fish, but this is almost like that luxury deer hunting where you're in that really nice stand and the fish are eventually going to move through. And you're comfortable. You're with friends. You got entertainment. It's good. So,
and that's what it's about. It's more the experience about it. So we're trying to make a memorable experience. Yeah. Trying to make it so that you guys have fun with your friends, have that comfortable experience as well. And it's about that. Yeah, catching's a big part of it too. We understand for a lot of people. We try and do our best with those, with that as well. But it is, you make the experience and make great times, and that's one of the best things with it. Another thing that we do too, if you're wanting to get out and do the run and gun, we do have all that gear too, which is available. Yeah. So
you also mentioned you have day houses too.
Yep, we have 3 day houses that are set up. They're just a regular 8x16. They aren't as nice as these, but we run those day houses. They're out actually a little bit deeper. They're in like 26, 28 feet of water right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we run those day houses. Those go from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So you might miss that morning kind of low light bite, but at least you're still getting at the end to at least stay from that 4 to 7 time frame when it's dark, sunset, those things. And then if you have it multiple days, there's no set time. So you'd start at 9 a.m. and you get it till 7 p.m. on your last day of the rental for it.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. And you said they may not be as nice, but if you stay back at the resort,
yes,
it's quite nice back there. I've stayed there before, so it's it'll all work out in the end. But those day houses are really nice too, right? They just don't have they don't have like creature comforts of the sleeper house.
Yeah, they're fishing. So you go out there, they've got the folding card table. Again, we'll still have the heat, holes, everything's ready to go out there. They keep them clean. We clean them up. Rattle wheels are all set. So it's the same thing, ready to fish when you guys get out there.
It's not like a janky plywood house. They're still good houses. It just doesn't quite have the creature comforts of the sleeper. So
yeah, these are definitely the Taj Mahal of a sleeper house. And then they got the foam walls and stuff, but they're, nice. They match these on the outside. And again, Lumelite ice houses. So they good quality and all that with the ice houses.
You should have saw how comfy Jace was last night. He was sprawled across that couch over there, and Big Mark came through, and he set the hook laying down.
He's like, I got it. I came and grabbed his transducer out of the way, and he's reeling, laying down.
And the one thing, like you said, was to turn the lights off to have fish come in, and that definitely worked. So the lights were off. Jay set the hook, and we we'd turn the lights on for him, and I think Sam helped him land the fish, but
it was about halfway
You
up
stayed
before I stood up.
But that's talking about the foam walls, in the day houses, but these are all foam insulated too, and that's one thing I noticed that we're in a group of some of your sleepers. They're not like right on top of each other, but last night, you'd walk outside to go grab something out of the truck, and you kind of forget. Like it felt like we were the only ones in the lake because you can hardly hear the generator running outside. They're super quiet, super secluded. It's nice.
Yeah, it's super nice. And we give them good space. I mean, that house, what's that, 150 feet away or so. We try and space them out. Obviously, weekends we get a little bit because wheelhouses and stuff kind of fill in some of the gap in there. But yeah, they are quiet. They're totally foam. Floors are even foam on them. We lift them up off the ice. They're blocked up about 16 inches, believe it or not. So they are up off the ice.
Sweet.
And you can kind of notice that when you try and pull up the fish, you need somebody to help you out.
That's right.
When Jace was laying down, that's where I was.
Yeah. Good to have that second person, but and lights are easy to access. They're dimmable.
Yeah.
And right there. So if you can keep the lights down low, like you guys are saying, you'll Leech Lake with the clear water and those zebra mussels now, you got to give yourself every advantage you can right now.
Yep. One thing that we found when we had the lights on, the perch would flock in, and then we turn them off, and they would go away, and then eventually we'd see a walleye come through or an eel pout or something. And we were talking like the first hour or so. We're like, do you think it really makes a difference? I mean, we're set up in 24 feet, and does that light penetrate? And obviously it does because the fish's mood changed completely whenever we turn them on or turn them off.
And you could say, happenstance of the few walleye, but we never marked a big mark with the lights on.
True.
And as soon as we turned the lights on, the perch were there, and as soon as we turned them off, the little perch were gone. Yep. So like they definitely it penetrates that far for sure.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. Like that's I mean, obviously it's got to be really, really dark down there at night under the ice, but that clear water, the light the fish definitely recognize it.
Oh, they definitely do. I mean, you look at the camera right now, it's a little bit, it could just be the overcast today, but I mean, you can see 20, 25 feet in any direction when you have the underwater camera down.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we're in 23, 24 on this spot?
Yeah. 24.
Yeah, 24 feet, so it definitely is penetrating through, but even with if you looked at our outlines of the holes, you wouldn't think that there'd be that much light.
Right. Yeah.
Still escaping or that, and the association, their LED lights, which usually don't penetrate that far, but something it does out on the lake, and that's one of the things we try and tell people is light really, really, really makes a difference on the lake at night for walleyes, eel pout, having your TVs on.
Yep.
All of that stuff does have a little bit of or for sure on Leech Lake has a play in that.
Yep. So we caught walleyes and eel pout last night. What else is out here to get?
So we're kind of where we're at right now. Obviously perch, lots of little perch on the lake. The lake's healthy, good population, eater-sized perch to keep all the walleyes fat and hungry, and the eel pout and northern pike. Lots of northern pike. They seem to be running everywhere. The northern pike bites, if you're into catching northerns and something during the day, has been just unreal this winter time. And it seems like it always has, and that could be, again, clear water. Those pike are sight feeders. So definitely seeing a lot of pike out here. Tulibee and whitefish. The tulibee and whitefish bite has been just phenomenal across the whole lake. So I know a lot of people are fishing outside of Horseshoe Bay off that Stony Point, the Trench, some of that deeper water in between us and there, and finding a whole bunch of them across the lake. But we've seen them come out of our rental houses out here in the same depth, which has just been unreal this year. And then you do get crappies and bluegills, but those are in different parts of the lake, and those can be a little bit more challenging. I know a lot of people know me or seen some of the videos and pictures that we post. Those are actually on either other parts of the lake or on the smaller lakes in the area that are actually really good untouched for those crappies and bluegills and close by to the resort.
And you recommend those to people that are staying at the resort and, like you said, they're close to the resort.
Yep.
Take a four-wheeler to them, snowmobile.
Yeah, four-wheeler snowmobile. I've sent people down there through the woods. There's a whole bunch of if you're looking for a different adventure while you're up here and really want that, like, I call it more of that because I'm from kind of that Ely area or was up there. You get that adventure kind of wilderness close by to us that you can take that 4-wheeler, snowmobile, go down one of the trails, pick a couple of those lakes, which we'll point out and give you the waypoints or show you where those are.
Yep.
If you're staying with us on site, even if you're a wheelhouse guest and you've got that stuff up here, we'll help you out. We want to see you guys have a good time, and that gives truly a wilderness experience. I mean, that's a whole different experience in itself. Going from the big lake here, you come back out, walleye fish, you have your snowmobile, and right down the road, I mean, within 1 to 2 miles, you've got some great crappie bluegill fishing right through the woods.
Nice.
Which is a really cool opportunity because, like, on podcasts all the time, you never mention Little Lakes names, and they can be hard to find, and it takes a lot of work to find them. So it's a cool opportunity that you guys, point your customers in the right direction and give them that step up because, the fishing can be pretty amazing. And I did that. We came down here for a sales meeting a few years ago, and we kind of had 2 groups, and one group went out here for perch and walleye, and one group went to the backwoods for big bluegills, and we got on them. It was a good time.
Yeah, it is. It's a really unique experience, and it's something unique kind of to the Walker area, I would say. I mean, you think of Leech Lake when you come to Walker, but there's so many little lakes in the area that are really, really good and kind of hidden gems to get to in the Walker Leech Lake area. And obviously, you guys know it being up in Bemidji. You got Lake Bemidji, but you have all those little lakes in the area that seem to have it and have that same kind of experience with it too as well. So, and
those can be sometimes the real treasures of ice fishing. So
do you get a lot of guests that will do a little mixture of both? Like they'll come out in a sleeper and then maybe want to go into some of the smaller lakes?
I do get a little mix of that. I'm surprised it's not more. I think it's a little bit more of the challenge going out there for some of the people. Or I get it too, you're renting, you're spending money on the lake, you want to stay on the lake too. Yeah. So, I mean, you kind of, I'm surprised it's not more people wanting to
I'm
do
with
that.
you. Like, again, as I just said, when Jace was like, did you bring your bibs? I was like, no, we're going in luxury. But I think that'd be really fun because, you said right now it's kind of a little bit more of a night bite. Yeah. And we've been marking some smaller perch and some pike, and I'm sure some stuff will come through here. But it'd be cool to do that all night, relax, and then get after it on some of those little lakes during the day when it might be a little slower here. So,
yeah, and that's definitely a sales thing that I try and tell people. I mean, you're into fishing, you've got that stuff, you want to go explore some of that and make your day go by fun. If you have, you're staying up here for a couple days, at least plan one of the days to, you could sleep in, fish hard in the morning, get in. The nice part about those little lakes, I know a lot of them down south of here, shouldn't say all the city ones or those. A lot of those are nighttime bites for crappies and bluegills, and you have an opportunity up here to go out and catch some really nice crappie bluegill during the daytime. Because they're very low pressured lakes. Obviously, too, people that are out there listening too, we do encourage catch and release of the bigger fish. So I try and tell people or tell them, hey, you're going to catch a big crappie over, at least if it's over 12 and a half, I encourage them to let that go. Same with the bluegills, once they start getting in that 10, 11 inch range to let them go because part of our resource for sure to do that. And that's one of the things I tell everybody if I'm going to give them those waypoints or those things, hey, let those big ones go. Those are important to it. So,
did you guys have a couple of those lakes get special regulations?
There's a couple of them that we do have that do have the special regulations. I'm looking forward to the state adding a few more. For that, I know it's a hot topic with everybody out there. I guess I lean more towards I don't really mind it. I like it because we get to see it. Leech Lake went to that, and it's going to help out. The pressure, I know last year got pretty high out here for those crappies on the lake and some of the bluegills. And then, but some of the other ones around the area, it's going, and we've seen an effect of it too. Start to pick up.
That new panfish regulation seems to be working because every time I go to those lakes, and again, the panfish lakes have always been a secret. Got to keep it secret. Well, once they get that stamp of the special regulations on it, you can kind of look around and know what it's got. But they seem to be holding up, and they have some of the biggest bluegills and crappies I've ever caught have been out of those special regulations lakes. So I'm kind of with you that I'd like to see a little bit more of that. And it's good to have some eater lakes too because people like having fish fries. But seems like those big panfish are getting harder and harder to come by these days, so it's nice to see us protecting that a little bit.
Yeah, it for sure is. And then the other nice thing talking about, I know that's been the big thing, is the barotrauma on them. A lot of these little lakes around here, since there isn't a lot of pressure or they're spring fed, a lot of them you don't have to go out to those basins. That's the other really cool
you
thing.
You can catch them under 20 feet. And
yeah,
for sure.
20 feet. I mean, 3 or 4 of the lakes that I've been going to right now, fishing for crappies and bluegills, the deepest I've fished is 15 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right
Are those all weed related fish then, or is it still mud?
There's still, it depends on which lake I'm on.
Yeah.
Most of them are weed related if it's one of those like deeper clear lakes right now. And the weeds, because there's not a lot of ice or a lot of snowpack on them, those weeds are actually still pretty green in a lot of those lakes, a lot of those clear kind of spring-fed lakes. The ones that are a little bit darker right now, there's a shallower weed line, but they're not out into those deep basins. So they're sitting in that 12 to 15, and they're that stained water. And, yeah, they're still technically, I guess, if you wanted to call it a basin, it's a 12 to 15-foot basin.
Yeah,
so,
basin of that lake.
Yeah. And there's deeper spots on some of them, but they're on those 12 to 15-foot smaller basins right now.
So what is your favorite species to go after on the ice?
On the ice,
Especially because you have so many options around here.
yeah, I have a ton of options. I get to fish a lot. I make sure I take my sons with, and they love going. My oldest son Brant, he's 10, loves going crappie fishing. I mean, loves that with a passion. That's his thing. Obviously, it's action. He's caught some very nice fish. My personal, it's fun. I've gotten a lot better at pan fishing and that, and started to kind of make a little bit of a name for myself on finding some of those here. So I really like the crappie bluegills. I like doing it shallow. I like having different techniques when I've been doing that. For sure out here, though, I mean, I'm still a walleye guy at heart. I love fishing for walleyes. So, and I've been known occasionally, just because they're fun, to go after the tulipy, because you want to talk about catching a fish on a very light line, like 2 or 3 pound test that is a fight the entire way up to the hole. Tulipy is actually very, very fun to catch through the ice.
And then a lot of those areas of tulipy, you get whitefish mixed in too.
Yes.
Which there's not a whole lot of lakes in Minnesota that you can consistently catch whitefish, and I feel like Leech is one of the premier ones.
It definitely is, especially if you're looking for a trophy whitefish. I know it's not like one of those targeted fish. You talk about other fish that are out there, but you get the chance to catch a 26, 27-inch whitefish. I mean,
wow,
that's a good fight through the hole, too, and you're usually using, because you're targeting the tulipy or some of the smaller whitefish at the time, you're usually using a light action rod or something with that on, and you hook into that with an ultralight, and it's...
It's game on.
Yeah.
That's right.
Game on all the way up to the top, and they're in the trout family, so they're going to be just like those rainbow trout and everything else that you're fishing, fight all the way through.
Yeah.
The trophy whitefish is cool, but you talked about being a walleye nut too, and I feel like that's another cool opportunity Leech has is, a lot of these fish factories like Red Lake and whatnot, you get a lot of like the eater size fish, but Leech, you have a true shot at a giant when you come up here. Like I feel like every time you come down and ice fish, you can catch a 26, 27 plus inch fish for sure.
Yeah, and you can, and we are a little bit different than like Red or Lake of the Woods with it, where maybe you don't get your numbers, but your quality fish are going to be, if you're looking, I see a lot of people with their personal best that get to catch them out of here.
Yeah. You
might not catch 50 fish on a weekend, you might catch 6, but out of those 6, 5 of them are going to be over 26 inches.
Yeah.
With a chance, I mean, this is the summertime into now, late fall, we saw a lot of 28, 29.
Wow.
I saw probably 5 or 6 fish from guests this summer, though, that were over that 30-inch mark. So definitely have your shot for a trophy. I mean, you'll talk to somebody, and they might have caught 1 or 2 walleyes, and they're like, yeah, they were too big, 26 plus,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a definite unique fishery with that one. It can be fun challenge because you're going after those bigger, older fish too. But when you get them, talk about a fish of a lifetime, 27, 28.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most people out here, they'd love to catch something that size. Yeah. So I know I do every time I come out. It's more fun.
Yeah.
You mentioned to us last night, there's been 3 over 26 just caught in this house alone this winter.
Yeah, just this winter. And that was just this week, I actually should say. So since Saturday of last week, we just moved this house here on Saturday, and 3 of them were over 26. Biggest was just under 29. So, it was like 28 and Probably if they would have stretched it, probably could have been a 29-incher out of the lake.
If you would have told us that, Charlie would have jigged a little harder last night.
But at the same point, outside of the perch, we haven't caught anything under 20 so far.
Yeah,
it's
true.
pretty dang good. So,
Yeah. And it's even with the pike, you see a lot of those 24 to 30-inch pike out here mixed in with that. So, they're all good, healthy, big fish.
Nice. And
you catch a 28-inch walleye right now, and he's weighing close to 10 pounds because they are healthy. Super healthy fishery across the whole lake right now. With it, plenty of bait fish. We've been watching the little perch swim by all day out down there. Nothing we can do about that. My joke is with the little perch, they're everywhere you want to be, just like Visa cards. So they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
but that's good because that's what the big fish eat. So
yeah. Super good with that, and then the Cisco Tulibee out there, and they've exploded over the last couple of years, and you'll see a lot of those little ones in big schools of shiner minnows and minnows coming across too. You'll see that a lot of the times out on the lake as well, which helps get those walleyes big.
Yeah,
for sure.
Go ahead, Sam.
And let's say all of this is within 3.5 hour drive of the Twin Cities.
Yeah, we're very close, not very far. It's an easy drive up. From the Twin Cities to go from here, you hop on 94, get on 371, and head north.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Brings you right to Leech Lake. So it's a super easy destination to get to, just as easy as like a Mille Lacs or those Red Lakes. And
doable to hop out on a Friday afternoon and leave Sunday night. So you get basically 2 full days of fishing in.
Yeah.
Where do you find most of your guests coming from? Is there certain areas, or is there you get people from far distances that come?
We do get that. That's not a big majority. I think this winter our longest. Well, we get people from all over the United States. Like this winter, last weekend, for example, we had people that did a week-long trip just to come fish leech from Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
So, they wanted to come out. They heard about the bite. They wanted to come out, so they drove out. We have people from, as far, like this weekend, I think I have people coming in from Nevada, Arizona.
Very cool.
Yeah, which is really cool to see. Majority, yes, are all from the Twin Cities metro region, south of, like that St. Cloud area we see a lot of. Also see a lot of guests. We're the right distance away. Like Fargo's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of people from that Fargo, Moorhead, kind of that metropolitan area as well that swing over to here because it's an hour and a half. Easy shot for them, too, to come right across 64 and right here to Leech Lake.
Yeah, and I guess that when you say some of those Nevada and some of those far out states, this is the perfect place to go because you got all the gear they need. Again, you just show up with your clothes and your sleeping bag, and you should be set to go fishing. Yeah,
and that's what they really enjoy about us, and they get to do that. And a lot of these people, we think about it because we get to do it every day as an ice fishing.
Yeah.
This is something new, and it's really cool to see. Is you're driving people out on the ice, and we always, all the guys, the ice guys, and I joke about it. You'll see them; they'll roll down their windows.
Yeah.
Some of them will drive with the door open as they come out, which is really funny. And we're driving with obviously my windows rolled up, and that probably not the safest thing with it. Yes, you should probably always have your windows or those, but you get used driving to it. Ice is safe right now too out here, but I get people in their safe with the safety and all of that. But it's funny to watch them, and you watch them get used to it, and they drive back and forth on the ice road a few times, and then they're doing the same thing. But out there watching them get out on the ice, and they're all
that's right. Yeah.
Do you give them like some advice or some road driving etiquette and stuff to stay in line on?
Yeah, so all of our guests that are coming out to the ice houses or even staying with us on the ice, if you're a first-timer with that one, we've got some really great ice guys out here that work at Trappers that have experience. We'll take you out. We escort you out. We talk about driving on the ice. We give you a map, what to expect when you're out there in the ice house so that they aren't scared every time the ice moves or cracks. We've all slept on the ice or been out there and we're used to that. They aren't used to that, so that can be a little bit scary thing. Mm-hmm. And all of my guys go through and all of them go and do a good job explaining all of that stuff, what to expect on the ice. And show them some spots out there too, or help them out. Yeah. So,
because Trappers isn't just these houses. You guys let people out too, and like you said, you have really nice ice right now. So are you letting everything, diesel trucks, 1 tons?
Yep, I'm letting out diesel trucks right now, at least for this weekend. We're going to revisit. It's supposed to be in like the 40s or 50s, I think, coming up, although it looks like it's finally gotten cooler or whatever with that one. But right now we're wide open to all vehicle traffic. With the diesels, there is a little bit of a limitation. I'm just allowing single axles with those right now with those heavier diesel trucks. Yeah. And for gas vehicles right now, we're up to 24-foot tandem ice houses.
Nice.
And we're still seeing 15 inches of ice, and it doesn't look like we're going to really build much of that. So trying to limit some of that or some of the weight and all that's more or less just to keep everybody safe, and then also keep some of these side roads and those from blowing up or having that heavy traffic on it.
That's one thing that I really like about ice fishing out of resorts, especially on like a big lake like Leech, and it unconventional ice here like we're having. Like there can be a lot of weird stuff that happens on big lakes, and if you pay your road fee, even if you're just going out for the day, pay your road fee. You guys have checked the zone and the maps. You know the map that they provide in the zone. You've checked all that, so you know kind of where you're going, and you still recommend drilling ahead if you go off road, but it gives you a little bit of expert advice on some of that stuff it's not consistent like little lakes. You can, a crack can open up and heal over and you don't realize that there's not much ice underneath it. So,
yeah, I mean, uneven is best thing to put it this year with the ice. And a lot of these guys, I work out really well. I'll give a shout out to Austin and Kyle out there. So, hey guys, I know they're out on the ice today working. They run Acorn Hills, Kyle does, and then Austin Mashad does a great job over on Horseshoe Bay. Those guys are out here, and we gotta sometimes push the limits for vehicles out there. Luke and Houston, some of the guys that work for me, Mark, those guys all do a good job. They're out here on the ice. They're putting their tests out, with that, and it's every ice cruise like that. We're the first ones out usually on the lake driving, testing, and trying to make sure it's safe or safer ice. Obviously, you always got to be lean towards the no ice is safe mentality with it, and I tend to play a little bit more conservative with that. So we might be a week behind other people or kind of wait a little bit more, be a little bit more conservative than I am to try and push it.
Yeah, no ice is safe ice, but uncharted ice can be downright dangerous sometimes. Yes, for sure. So that's the nice thing about you guys having the roads and the zone.
Roads, and I mean, right now I think we're at like 15 miles of plowed roads out of the resort that we have plowed. There's not a lot of ice on there, but when you guys come out, we'll give you the map, and between those areas, you can usually travel right now. I mean, there's no snow on the lake.
Yeah, so what kind of is, each resort kind of has their home range. What is your guys' home range here on Leech?
Yeah, so our home range really stretches out from the resort out to Pelican Island. We call it the trees on Pelican Island. So we go from basically straight out, and if you were to draw a line from the marina out, that covers Huddles Reef, Hogers, Pipe Island. We run over to Rogers Point area, Miller Bay, and then to the south side of Pelican Island. So kind of that little square in there with that, which is a big area to fish. I was going to say,
to give people context, from Trappers to Pelican, did you say it was 5 miles?
5 miles up to the trees. So, I mean, up to that corner, just out where we're at right now off the Huddles is just over 2 where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
And when Josh means plowed roads, this is like Minneapolis Airport.
Yeah,
we're on a 4-lane highway coming out here.
If the Delta flight running into Bemidji has problems, Josh will be letting them down on the runway. Might be overweight, but there's plenty of room for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, they definitely can, and we try and make our main drags are made wide to support the weight of the traffic, so people can spread out on it. Also, in case we have a snowstorm that comes in, most of it, believe it or not, when you make it that wide. And I was always taught, I got taught by some great people while I was coming up in the industry or working on ice, how to build the ice roads, and putting a bank on one side is one of the keys to it too, and it blows it straight across to that.
Yep.
And you try and play the wind. Most of our winds have been northwest, but this year with the warmer stuff, it's been more south. So pushing where we normally push the banks isn't always working, but our roads are so wide you can have a little bit of that and still plenty of room across the lake.
And there's not a ton of snow either, so guys have been able to get off the roads a little bit if they want to.
Yep, and they're able to get off, go to a whole bunch of different areas, get off those roads. Obviously, again, check as you go. That's what we've been preaching.
Yep.
Yeah, go off to that area if you want to go up somewhere and we don't have a road built to it right now, because we didn't make a lot of cutouts and we haven't made a lot of the little side roads into the area because of the ice is pretty through here's consistently at that 16 to 18, so you can travel, I mean, pretty good and feel confident that you're going when you're going off the road and that it's going to be that 16, 18.
Yep.
There are still some 14-inch spots. That's why we always tell people to test, with those bigger rigs going out, just in case. Yep. But that's what's been unique about this year compared to other years. We haven't had to do that as much.
Yeah. So you said you got 15 miles plowed this year. You were telling us a little bit about last year's road. How many miles did you have last year?
Close to 45 miles plowed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. We built a big monster road system. We had to get creative with it, but again, we had record amount of snowfall last year.
Yeah.
So we had to build that many roads to get out and get some different structure and build the cutouts and everything.
And there's years that you said you'll meet up with Horseshoe Resort.
Yep, we'll meet up with Horseshoe Bay. Like I said, we have a good work with Austin there, and we've met up with them, and that even provides an even more unique possibility for people when they're coming up here, that you can go all the way from basically Stony Point all the way over to, essentially Diamond. We're a little bit short of Diamond here on Huddles, about a mile, but being able to have that, then you have 2 restaurants to choose from. Out there, they have a great restaurant there. It gives their people something option to come check out our restaurant, The Merit, which is good food and stuff. So, gives a good option to cover water, and it's kind of fun to travel across the lake and go in and out with the different access points.
Yeah. I think the cool thing about Leech Lake, open water, but especially during the ice too, is our main lakes that we fish would be Lake of the Woods, Red Lake. Those are basin type lakes. You're fishing usually mud. Leech is a lot of structure base.
Yes.
You have us set up right now in an awesome, a sweet little saddle between 2 high spots. We were looking at the map before we got out here, and there's so many options to set up, on top of a hump or off to the side. But then you do have some mud too if you want to get out into the mud during the day or for perch too. Yeah,
lots of different structure. And the other unique thing about it, we are a reservoir, so we don't get a thermocline on it. Mm-hmm. So water's always moving through here. It's not like what you think about reservoir where all of a sudden you got a gap in the ice between it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With that, but it is a reservoir, so there's always moving water. You can go talk to somebody that fished, let's say, over in Sand Point area on the lake, and they caught walleyes in 6 feet.
Yeah.
And on that same day, you'll talk to somebody, and they were sitting out in 26 feet of water and caught walleyes. So
that's what I was gonna say. I feel like with that variety of structure, there's room to fish like everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not always a set
We're watching perch
all
on the
time.
screen.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden, all their eyes go up to the screen. So we got the aqua view on the HDMI to the TV, and all these guys are looking up. So I had to check out what's on there.
That's right.
Yeah, they were looking right at the thing. Little guys swimming around. Yeah. So with that, which is fun to watch all the time, watching the aquarium down there.
Yeah.
With that live action aquarium.
I think the cool thing about Leech too is you have the options to fish weeds, sand. There's a lot of hard bottom, and then rock, mud. Yeah. I mean, you can really switch it up. That's one thing I like about it. Probably more so in the open water season for the bass and the walleyes. That's one reason why I love coming to Leech Lake.
So I feel like in the open water season, and ice too, but open water might be a little easier. It's a multi-species factory. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many places can you catch trophy largemouth, trophy smallmouth, trophy walleye, trophy bluegill,
muskies?
Like literally, like all the big species are in Leech, and you don't always see that. Lake of the Woods has the muskies and the walleyes, but you're not going to find a whole lot of largemouth bass in Lake of the Woods, or bluegills for that matter. Right. Mille Lacs, big smallmouth, walleyes.
Muskies. Yeah, they got the big muskies there.
Yeah, but the crappies and panfish can be hard to come by, so it's cool. And like with all the points and stuff too, and little lakes around, you can always get out of the wind up here, I feel like, where some of those big bodies of water, you have blow days where you just can't get out.
Yeah, where you can't get out. And like I said, it's really unique because if you can't get out, you can still do a shallow bay and catch a walleye.
Yeah.
You don't have to go deep all the time. That's one of the, you don't have to go out and pull lead or those. You can, hey, we were bluegill fishing, all of a sudden a school of walleyes moved in up in some of those areas, which is really unique on it. I mean, literally catching both those species in the same spot, or you'll be perch fishing, all of a sudden all those perch leave, and here comes walleye, smallmouth, or something else coming in. So,
and there's just so many fish. I remember just seeing big schools of walleyes this last summer, smallmouth everywhere. I mean, they can be hard to catch, but you can get on them, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
and it's with the way that Leech sets up, all that new technology that's out there, your forward-facing sonars, all of that. If you know how to use it, you will catch fish on the day. Eventually, you'll catch up to them and get the right school to bite. Yeah. So
that's one thing we found is, there's these giant flats on Leech Lake too, and just with the right wind, you can drift across those flats and go slow, utilizing your electronics, either side imaging or forward-facing sonar. And like Charlie said, the schools of walleyes out here in the summertime can be hundreds and hundreds of fish, and it's a good place to learn that technology.
For sure.
I'm going to be coming down here a lot this summer, I think. The boat's fixed. I'm coming down. So we kind of mentioned it briefly, but I think one thing that Leech is getting known for in the last few years is the smallmouth fishery. Like, it's blown up. And it was kind of like a secret 2 years ago. It's been getting better, and now we have a Bassmaster Open coming here in the fall. So talk a little bit about what kind of trophy smallmouth people can catch up here in the summertime.
So they're very untouched. They still can be a little bit tough sometimes to get to go, but I've seen a lot of fish now over 20 inches. So you're talking 20 to 22-inch smallmouth. They're super tall. They're as tall as they are long. Right. So, I mean, you'll get some of them where the circumference, they're 24 inches round and 20 inches long. So super healthy. And one of the things that helps that is, obviously, the lake does have rusty crayfish in it. Great forage base. Now we've got the zebra mussels, so we got that clear water. So the smallmouths definitely have an opportunity to live, grow, thrive with all of those changes kind of on the lake right now.
Yep.
And seeing those big schools, especially down on our end of the lake, I think that's kind of where the smallmouths used to be, just down here on this corner.
Yep.
It was like a whisper that they were in the lake down here, where you'd hear an occasional catch with them.
Yep.
And now they're really starting to show up definitely on our end of the lake. You find a rock point or a deeper later in the summer as they go out on those big sand flats, and all of a sudden you find a pile of little rocks out there, and it's now full of smallmouth bass out there, and they're good, healthy fish. I mean, 20 to 22-inch smallmouths, nothing to I mean, it's a good fish to brag about. You catch 4 or 5 of those in a day, and it's amazing with it. So it's definitely a fishery. I'm sure when the Bassmaster, we're going to obviously, I heard Gussie was going to fish it. Not for sure, certain on that one. I'm hoping he is.
About doing that?
I don't know.
So
I know he's got other obligations during that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be pretty cool.
I know he was.
It would be.
He spent a little time. He spent a little time.
He came out here, like, he's over the last few years. He's had shoots with us. He's done some stuff with Wired to Fish and London. I know on one of those they went out for like 3/4 of a day and he caught a 6-pounder out here. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was cool. I got to see him. He came up we did the Lund fishing experience, and he came out of here and did really, really well. And then I saw him a few other times throughout the summertime, stop by the resort, which was all my kids, I shouldn't say kids, they're college students that work for me down there. They get a little bit gaga over him coming in, which is funny to watch. Sure. But it'll be cool seeing the Open down here for that. It'll definitely get the name. Leech Lake, Walker area. Yeah. It's going to be great for the whole community in the area. I think we're going to see a lot of people show up for that, and really I'm hoping they have a great time with their smallmouth. Obviously, we've always known about the largemouth on the lake.
Yep.
Which are there's still a lot of tournaments won with largemouth bass on the lake.
Yep.
Lake 2.
It's going to be interesting to see, who is going to be targeting largemouth and smallmouth, if it's going to be kind of a mixture, or how it's going to go down. So
I'm really curious to see how it turns out. Talking to a lot of people, and like you said, it's the smallmouth they're going or they're not. So if those smallmouth hold up, it'll probably be a straight smallmouth bag. But I think,
but then you could have a possibility of a wind too, and that could hurt the smallmouth.
Yeah,
I mean, Leech is big enough where there's days where it blows and you can't fish parts of that, the lake.
So I feel like the anglers are going to need to be versed in both to have a good tournament, no matter what it plays out. But definitely could play, because there's plenty of 4 and 5 pound largies in here too.
And all those guys are, used to fishing in big water, but I talked to a lot of guys and they say Leech is a little bit different.
It is, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting because I think they're launching from Walker Bay. So to get to some of these really good smallmouth, those guys are going to have to brave some of the winds to get over to these areas, fish this side of the lake, the east shoreline of it.
Yep.
I mean, there's some good areas if you're looking for largemouth bass. Obviously, Steamboat's a super popular spot. Portage Bay up there. Sucker Bay, a lot of guys like to fish those, even Shingabee down there that you can get out.
Yep.
But I think the guys that'll kind of brave it, go across the lake, Fish Boy, Headquarters, down here on this corner, they're going to find some good fish. So I'm excited to see that. I think they said it's going to be like 100 boats, 150 boats or something like that. Is what
I think they cap it at 200 or 250.
I want to say it was in the 200s.
Oh, so if it's even that big, it's going to be...
It depends on how many people sign up, but I think the one Leech Lake, just as on that open schedule, was a highlight for a lot of the guys when the schedule came out. The bass guys know the traction it's getting, and it's a growing, the population's growing, the fish are getting bigger, and it hasn't slowed down yet. So we're excited for them to be here and see what type of bags they can bring in.
Yeah, when you said like when they're as tall as they are wide or as long, that's definitely true. We fished a tournament last spring and it was inches. We wanted inches, and we'd get hooked up with one and be jumping way out there, and we're like, oh, that's gonna be one that we need. That's gonna help us. And then we put it on the board, and it's like 18.5 incher, but it's like 4.5 pounds.
Yeah, they look like basketballs. Yeah. They're as tall. Yeah. It's just crazy. So
they definitely have more of the sunfish look than they do the normal bass look out there.
That's right.
Which is fun. I mean, you can catch them multiple ways too. That's the fun thing about it. I mean, you got guys you'll talk to that you basically use your favorite. However you want to catch them, you probably can catch them. So
and a lot of that's like mixed bag stuff too, right? You can get into the walleyes and the smallmouth, kind of doing the same thing in similar areas.
Yeah, definitely similar areas. You'll be pitching. I like to fish them a lot with tubes, but you catch walleyes off your tube jigs, or a lot of guys now, the popular thing's the drop shot. So you have that either plastic leech or a leech on that drop shot, and you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes, well, you can now with the forward facing, you can see if they're smallies or walleyes now, but you could keep the drop shot rig and catch walleyes, just as many walleyes on that as you can for that. Yeah, the smallmouth or pitching a jig. Jig in a plastic works really, really well on the lake for everything. So,
Josh, note some of the big walleye tournaments that are on Leech Lake, because it's not. We've talked a lot about this bass tournament and how the bass population exploded, but Leech Lake is a phenomenal walleye lake, especially in the summertime. And there's some big tournaments too.
Yeah, there's the big. The first one that comes to mind that's going to be the biggest, run by the Chamber of Commerce, is the Leech Lake Walleye Tournament. I think they're at 85 teams. When we were talking about that the other day at the chamber meeting, and then they just opened it up now to some of the other repeats, and I think it goes to public on that, and that'll be about almost 200 teams with that one, which is a huge walleye tournament. It's all a fish donkey, so it's all a catch and release tournament now. Which last year the guys that won it, they had, you talk about 25, 30-pound bags.
Wow.
Unreal. Yeah. And that's what you're going to take to win one of these tournaments because of all those big walleyes. So,
which is like, this 5 fish, right?
Yeah, it's 5 fish.
That's like a 28-inch average, probably.
Is it 2 overs, though?
Well, they get, like, that one there that won it, you get one over, it's a six bag thing, and that was still, though, 25 pounds. So those 18, 19-inch fish that they caught were very, very big and healthy on there, too.
And then one giant 28 plus inch.
Yeah, 28, 29. I think there was like a 32 or something caught last year in it, which was just amazing to see. and all those pictures of it that see coming through on that one were pretty amazing with that. And that one's probably the first kind of cap, like big one that comes in. The AIM series has their catch and release. They have like 3 or 4 tournaments a summer. We do a big one. It's open to the public. It's put on by the Minnesota Carpenters Union, and that one's always at the end of September.
Okay.
And that one last year, I think that was still like a 25, 26-pound bag that won that.
Nice.
That one is a kill tournament, so
Okay.
that's not a catch and release.
Yep.
So we've seen, and again, they have to follow the rules, whatever's with the DNR set up with that one. So we saw some really nice fish caught come in on that one,
But that's
too.
a great time to walleye fish, too, at the end of September on Leech Lake.
It is. I mean, everybody, there's still people that struggle, but the
Yeah.
guys, if you got the stuff and kind of can look around, you're going to find good fish and catch fish. I think only there was very few teams that did not catch a fish on that one day. I mean, it's a one-day tournament.
Yep.
It's cool to see it. And that one's that was 105, 110 boats last year.
Wow.
So it's definitely growing on the lake. So we're going to host that again this year. That's a big one on there. And then I know the NWT would eventually like to come back, but that one's been held up here. And that one, if you guys remember, what was that, 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
It may have even been longer.
Yeah, maybe longer. They had some huge weights in that one, too. And that was...
Bro did really well on that one. I think
He
Bro
did.
got 3rd.
Yeah,
He was up there.
he was up there. And he always places, I mean, Bro's he's
He knows some
He knows some
fish,
stuff.
some spots on Leech Lake.
He's Bro's a special angler, so we'll put it that way. Special elite angler that's out
right.
there in those things. So he gets to fish out a lot and do those. I've learned a lot from him. So especially on Leech, he knows Leech Lake very, very well with that. But those walleye tournaments, they're big. They're getting the traction. I mean, growing each year. That Leech Lake walleye tournament usually fills up before mid-February.
Yeah.
And that's a June tournament. And then all those AIM anglers are 40 to 50 strong at least minimum.
Nice.
So good walleye tournaments. And then, the bass one's coming in now. We're starting to see a lot of those. There's a new muskie one that's out there. I don't know if you guys have been following that, the Minnesota Muskie League.
Yep.
From a guy up in Bemidji. He ran that out of Trappers last year. That one had I think it had 25 teams, but I think he's probably grow.
Yeah,
To
that was
75.
their first year last year, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yep.
First year with that one. The reports from that one, I mean, there was one day out of the 25 teams, I think 13 to 15 teams all boated a muskie.
Nice.
And out of that, I think like 10 teams had multiple fish days.
Wow.
So, which is, I mean, you talk about a muskie tournament, that's good numbers
That's very
there.
good for muskie tournaments.
Yep. So,
When we were fishing out here this past summer, like if you're fishing in any sort of shallower water, like there's a good chance you're gonna see a muskie.
oh yeah.
We saw multiple muskies each
Big
day.
ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to find some smallmouth on some shallow rock and sand, and pretty soon there'll just be a big log laying there, and
Right next to us.
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Fun to watch them, fun to catch them. I mean, that's from that August to September. A lot of the walleye guides in the area, they just hang up their walleye rods and go muskie fishing,
Yeah.
and take guests out. And there's one of them that's been here probably forever, Bob Landerville, down on the South Shore here. He does a lot of trips out of there, and there were numerous days where he had like 3 or 4 muskies for the entire day.
Wow.
That they caught in double digits and just getting follows. So
Very cool.
yeah, seeing that a lot out there, and there's a lot of good muskie sticks that get to see those out on the lake, so which is cool.
So we talked a little bit about the regulations on some of the smaller lakes with panfish. Is there special regulations on Leech Lake for any of the other species?
Yeah, there is. For walleyes, you get, it's kind of unique too. You got to really look at it. It's not a daily limit, it's a possession. So it's a 4-fish possession limit of walleyes with 1 over 20 inches. So it doesn't mean, unfortunately, it doesn't mean you can go out each day and catch 4 fish each day and bring them back.
Yep.
You got to either eat them or something else with it.
You just need to get it full belly after the day.
That's right.
Yeah, and one of the nice things is we'll cook your catch at the Merritt, so you can
Nice.
go catch them and then go catch some more. But 4-fish possession with 1 over 20, which I think is a very, very reasonable fish catch out there.
Yeah.
So it used to be that like 20 to 26 was protected, and you could have the 4 fish, and a lot of people still see that reg. and for some odd reason, it keeps showing up on the searches and all of that when people are looking for it. But it is for sure 4 fish with one over 20 inches out there. And then the northern pike minimum on the lake, or the northern pike limit, which is that really weird, like 22 to 26 are protected.
The intensive, so it's like 10 fish.
You get the 10 fish out here on the lake. So, and you just got to follow that one. I want to say it's like 22 to 26 is protected. You get 2 fish over 26, but you get 10 total. So you get like, you could have all 10 under 22 inches. So. So
which
that
I feel like that's
definitely
working too. You know, we have that that rig is all across the northwest here. I think it might even go to the northeast. But these past few years, I feel like I've been catching bigger and bigger pike, not just on Leech, but in all area lakes. So I feel like it might be working a little bit.
I think it is. And if people really were paying attention, I mean, you could keep 10, 20-inch pike, which I know is kind of small, but you can't. Those bones aren't as bad, the Y bones. With that, if you're looking for a meal of fish and you're into those fish and you got a day where you're getting a whole bunch of 20, 21 inch northern pike, which does happen some days, keep those things, and that helps out with that regs. And we have seen some bigger pike on the lake too, so yes, definitely working with that. And then I believe too for the crappies, bluegills, it is the 5 fish limit, so they definitely put that in here. And I know why they did that was they're in very unique locations around the lake, and it helps those populations
for sure
across the lake. So those are the special regs that are on the lake. And I think I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there is a limit on the tulubi and whitefish out here.
Okay.
And that's because of it's important to the Ojibwe band that's here on the lake. So that's why there is that special reg as well on the tulubi and whitefish on the lake. My mind's blanking me right now. I have to look that one up. So sorry about that.
We'll flash it on the screen here if you're watching the podcast. We'll put up the regs.
And also look it up every year too, because you might be listening to this 5 years down the road. We don't want any phone calls.
That's right.
Get the regulation pamphlet and have that with you anytime you're fishing.
Or check in with Josh at Trappers, and he'll
we got it posted right there. Yep. We got it posted. Nice part is everybody's got phones now, and it's posted right online. So
I can't tell you how many times I've been fishing for one thing and then catch another thing, and I was like, better go check the website because I didn't even look what the regs are on walleyes on this lake or whatnot. So let's talk about tackle a little bit. Is there any little special things, colors, flutter spoons, rattles on Leech that work better than others, or is it just kind of you got to go by the day?
My favorite overall is going to be more of that like flutter style spoon. So obviously the Northland coffin spoon, the buckshot flutter spoon are my go-tos on the lake. With the clear water, believe it or not, I do downsize a lot with the clear water. So I don't always use the bigger like 2-inch spoons. I might be an inch and a half, half long on those. So that's probably in your 1/8 ounce, even your 16th ounce of those style spoons. And I really like that flutter action. I don't know why part of me thinks the flutter's a little bit like those crayfish, how they float down. They might pop up in that, and they are eating a lot of those. And with a lot of those crayfish, I mean, your oranges work really, really well on the lake, especially a overcast day like this.
Oh, yeah.
Orange is a great color to use on the lake, anything with orange on it. I mean, all your perch patterns have orange. My favorites, what's that, electric perch.
Yep.
That's what Sam was using today.
That's what I was using. But that was the one that swerved me last night and went right over to Jace. Right. What color did you have on?
I had the new Super Glow White though.
It
was 9 o'clock last night, and
we were glowing up. Glowing our spoons up pretty good last night.
Yeah.
So.
And that's, I mean, those whites, again, second on that one would be probably whitewood, what I would go to. But even that electric perch got a lot of white on there.
Yeah.
So it's more orange than white, but white's a great one. Overcast days, obviously switch to those painted ones. If I have a sunny day, I like gold. Gold is a great color to use on the lake right now, especially with how clear it is.
Yep.
Purple would probably be, if you wanted to look for an outlier, purple is probably
that's the sneaky.
That's the sneaky one.
Purple
in
and
there.
blue, I'm guessing.
Yeah, purple and blue, and again, those look like, if you look at a crayfish right now, they got a little bit of purple blue on them down there. Yeah. For the wintertime, I don't know if that's because they're cold and they're blue because of that, but definitely those are my top. Probably orange. It'd go orange, white, and probably that purple or blue.
Yep.
And if I'm perch fishing, blue's my number one. So straight up blue. That Super Glow blue.
That new Super Glow blue?
Yes, is my favorite thing to use for perch.
Well,
So.
we'll have to send you some more and stock you up on it. But one cool thing about Trappers is they are owned by the same people that own Reed's right in town here. And Reed's, if you've never been to Reed's, it's an awesome independent dealer. It's massive. They have guns galore, fishing tackle galore, a lot of really unique stuff, really good pricing. It's just a great store. They've been a great customer of ours for many years. But a cool thing Trappers offers is a lot of the more expensive equipment they have here at the resort. You can try it out, test it, and then if you like it on your way home, stop in at Reed's and pick it up. And you even have a decent selection right at the resort there too, with some tackle and whatnot, right?
Yep. So we obviously carry the Northland spoons that I talked about there. Make sure you get, and we even got, we got tackle, we've got bait,
Augers.
all the augers. We got it. We have it all there at it. It's try and be a one-shop shop at Trappers too.
Yeah.
Just like Reed's, and have that same quality gear, same pricing that you're going to find there. If we don't have it, obviously we send you into Reed Sporting Goods.
Yep.
That is the nice part. We're locally owned. The Arnold family's been in the area a long time. The history of it all, they did start on this part of the lake. So, I mean, this is kind of like a full circle for the Arnold family. They're great people to work for at Reed's. They take care of all their guests. What you get on the floor from them is an elite experience. You know?
The customer service they have is pretty incredible. Like every person at Reed's knows what they're talking about, and if you happen
Look
to
at that one.
there we go.
There he is.
Big pike just rolled through.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sam. There's a big pike on the screen.
But all those guys know what they're talking about, and if you happen to catch a guy in like a different department, they'll go grab an expert on it. And like even Northland, like they have training days where we'll come down and train all the fishing guys on, hey, this is our new spoon, this is why we like it. So one of the best services I think in the industry. So it's really cool. If you're ever swinging through Walker, definitely check out Reed's.
Yeah, they're a big part of the Walker community. They've been there. They help support all the events, everything. So, I mean, big part of that. And that's spread out to Trapper's Landing for sure. We bring in that old school hospitality. We've been a resort property for 100 years and like to have that. I mean, we want to make sure memorable experience. That's what and celebrate the history, making memories. That's truly what we're about here at Trappers, and that comes obviously hand in hand with Reed's with that, and it's a cool experience out here with that. So that's what we're trying to do, help you out, stop, talk to you. I think that's our number one compliment, is how well we get to, or that I get to hear, is how great our guests feel when they leave, or how they're greeted and stuff out on the ice. And that's testament to a lot of the guys that are working for us, guys and gals, I should say, that are working for us at Trappers too. So you get that whole experience with it. So we got the tackle, again, going back to that pro shop gear that we have. We've got, we don't have the forward facing gear for the rent, but we've got everything else for that. I know we'll get a lot of questions on that one. But we've got the flashers, from top of the line ones from Vexlar, Markham out there. Yep. We've got the underwater cameras from Aquaview, Markham, all the top brands. Different fishing rods. We got Fenwick's, 13 Fishing, G. Loomis, all those rods.
Got it all.
Yeah, we got it all there to try. And in the summertime, it flips over. So then we've got all the summertime ones. We've got muskie rods. You want to try? We were talking about muskie fishing. You want to try muskie fishing? You don't have the gear. You can come check it out from all of us. We got the muskie nets. We've got fishing rods. I mean, we got the St. Croix, the 2B fishing muskie rods, the 13 ones. Yep. So, I mean, you get to try any of that stuff and go out and do that, and hopefully experience catching a muskie or getting a chance to have that follow with it too. That usually, even the follow hooks a lot of people on that for life.
That follow usually sells the rod and reel right there.
Yeah, and if you like it, you get to go to Reed's and buy it. It's right down the road with that one. Or there's a lot of times I've had people order it in, and we'll get it shipped right out to the resort while they're staying with us. So
very cool.
Try and help you out. Same with it's a big lake out there. One of the other unique things we'll do too, you got your own gear, your own boats, your own GPS. Everyone's got Navionics on their phone or something that's like that. I think some of the other manufacturers, some of the depth finders have it where it connects.
Yeah.
We'll plug in the waypoints for you guys. I mean,
get them started in the right direction.
Yeah, at least started in the right direction. Give them a starting point. like I said, fishing's fishing sometimes at the beginning
Right.
of it, but
That's right.
at least we're trying to give you as much spots help as we can with those things. And when I always tell people too, you give them a waypoint, it's in a general starting point. You might
Yeah.
have to drill a few holes, you might have to troll around the area, use your electronics, find those fish, but we do everything but basically take you out in the boat. I do that kind of on my own side. I do the guiding on my side on my days off and that, or we work with a lot of the guides in the area too that we can get you hooked up and get you on the lake that way too.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's been awesome. We really appreciate you having us down here, and
Good luck getting us out of here.
yeah,
I got it for one more day for you guys if you really just want to work from home today. So
we called Greg, the CEO, this morning, and he's just like, "Oh, if you guys want to stay an extra day, that sounds great. Go stay however long you want."
perfect.
We're working remotely today.
Yeah. So fire up the computers here and see if we can catch a few of these fish we've seen cruising through on the Aquaview. So
Yeah,
right.
that pike is still swimming around. I just saw him. I think
Is
one
he?
of the set lines is going to go off.
I know he's been perusing
he's
through there
lurking.
3 or 4 times, so he's looking kind of hungry.
Let's get back to fishing then.
Sounds good.
Josh can get back to work.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks Josh
coming
for
on.
being on here. Thanks for having us. Thanks for letting us stay here.
Yeah, glad you guys were able to make it down this winter.
Northland fish and tackle, fisherman's favorite. It's a fisherman's favorite.